Hello and welcome to A Cat in the Garden. We're just relaxing out here. My son was out here playing and it was the cutest thing ever because I hadn't tried this before with him, and he absolutely loves all of the plants. Trees are his favorite at the moment. And so while my husband was doing some yard work and it was my turn with my son, I was holding him out here and the cats were all around him. Saffron was over here too, and we were just having an amazing late afternoon. But I figured since now my husband cleared the walkways and we can actually walk through the garden, it would be time for a garden tour. I will warn you, it is a bit of a mess because for the past 2 months I have not been focusing too much on this garden, and we're just getting back into the swing of doing things out here, and I definitely have to prep for some fall veggies, but there's still a lot going on out here, and I haven't done a garden tour since June, maybe July, I don't remember. I think June though. So I'll leave Nutbag here. Saffron actually just decided to go walk through the garden, so maybe we'll find her out there. Maybe he'll move, maybe he won't, but he seems pretty content. So let's go for a September garden tour. This is how the garden looks behind me. It's a little unkempt at the moment, I will admit, but I still think it's really green and lush and full, and that is a plus. In the first bed, this was my Kalima bush bean bed, and then I have a crazy unkempt thyme, but I do still have a few plants that are going strong. These beans I will probably save for the seeds, just feeling them. And I did plant, though Saffron made some holes in here, I did plant some new ones. So I will be looking forward to those popping up as the weather starts to get cooler. And then I always have volunteer cilantro, so here's just another one of those. There's Saffron. Hi. Hello. Good girl. Good girl. And past that, I have my leafy greens bed along with my tricolor sage, which is just loving this spot so much better than a previous spot that I had one in before. It died immediately. This one is just doing so much better. I think I only got it this spring, and to see it grow so much is a really good sign. My kale is starting to grow back after being decimated the entire summer by bugs. I mean, there's still some bugs, but hopefully it'll be looking a lot bigger come fall. I've got purple kale here. My Swiss chard has been hit by some late season bugs, but once the fall and winter comes, oh, there's a really cute spider. He just went on the other side of the leaf. Oh, he's hiding from me, but oh, you might be able to see him just down in there. Really cute little fuzzy jumping spider. But these bugs will all die off come fall and winter, and I'll be able to harvest Swiss chard that looks more like this. So I just waited out, chop all of these gross looking leaves once that time comes, and then we'll have some good harvests. There are a really good perennial here, very cold tolerant, don't mind even ice and snow. So I like keeping them around even through the summer when they look kind of gross like this. And beyond, my blue salvia is just taking over this bed. Unfortunately, there is a pepper plant back there, and I've only gotten a couple peppers on it this year because the salvia has pretty much taken over. I do have lots of other peppers that are producing. This is a jalapeno, though I just harvested a bunch today from it. So there's a little guy. I have a couple of leeks that are growing. This was supposed to be a jalapeno, but I've been harvesting cayennes from it for the past month, so don't think that is actually a jalapeno. I have a serrano in there where all those red peppers are. There's a volunteer tomato, unfortunately. And while these are small, these lemon drop peppers are actually producing, so that is really nice to see. I did overwinter these from last year, and though they don't look the prettiest, they have actually produced more than some of my other pepper plants. So that's your sign to not give up on some peppers, I guess. My fish pepper has done well. I've got a few that are ready to harvest on it. Lots of really nice variegation at the top where it gets the most sun. I've got another jalapeno here that just keeps leaning. Here we go. There's some little ones on it right now. We're kind of in that point of summer where the plants are struggling and the heat has just broken, so they will start producing a little bit more once we stay consistently in the 80s. This is a bell pepper plant that I overwintered, and this is the source of that volunteer tomato. And back here I have a mariachi pepper, which has been doing very, very well. This is just a dead leaf. but this pepper has been doing really well for me this year, despite being in the back and a little bit overcrowded out by the salvia, which the bumblebees have been loving. Not much to report from the blackberry over here. We've mostly just tried to keep it contained now that its season is done. The herb garden is still doing really well. This bed has been a disaster. It was supposed to be cayenne peppers. They got drowned out immediately by a volunteer tomato plus volunteer fennel. It is what it is. I think I might just try to do something different with this bed next year and stay on top of the volunteer plants as they come up thanks to my compost. But it is what it is. I have been able to get tomatoes from it at least, and a few cayennes. Here's the plants. I did harvest yesterday, so I don't think there's any red ones, but some of the plants survived. I planted 6 in here, and I think 4 are still alive. So that's that. I've got a row of tomatoes up next. These are the only large tomatoes that I've actually consistently gotten to grow. These are the Lemon Boy tomato. I did also plant a Cherokee Purple and Mortgage Lifter. The plants have gotten really big, but I haven't gotten a single tomato from those plants yet, just the Lemon Boy. So I don't really know what to think about that. I've always struggled really with the larger tomatoes. Cherries and pears do much better for me. This is a yellow pear. You will see yellow pear tomatoes everywhere in this garden. I am so sick of yellow pears. You wouldn't believe it. I'm just so sick of them. Anyway, I have some eggplant here. I also have a couple of serrano peppers that I didn't know where to put them because I accidentally bought too many pepper plants this year, but they're doing really well. They look great. They've got peppers on them. I've harvested a couple of times. So I have them, and then I have the eggplant. I got a lot from this eggplant early in the season. I'm getting some more now, a new wave as the heat has just broken, and then I haven't gotten anything from these yet. I bought them really late. I didn't get them in the ground until June, and then it was just too hot. So now they're flowering again. Got quite a few flowers on this one. Got a couple over there. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I will get more eggplants as we get into fall. I was really looking forward to growing a bunch of eggplants this year, and maybe I just need to plant them all early like I did this one. This one is much bigger, much healthier than the others. So we'll just have to wait and see. But just a little lesson for next year. I think I need to plant them all early. In front of it, this bed is also a mess. Tomatoes everywhere. Volunteer basil. I still have these giant beets. Like this was chard. I just saved them for the greens because that is not edible. I think that has got to be a record beet, honestly. But it is not edible in there. It's going to be so woody. But the greens are really, really nice. And they sort of pop up from all different sides of the beet. I do have a row of scallions in here that is somehow still alive. And I do need to eat all of those because they look a pretty good size. So that's what I've got going on in here. I will be planting probably some more fall crops once the basil starts to die back, or I just feel like chopping it down because I don't need all of this basil. So there are yellow pear tomatoes in here, as well as volunteer white currant tomatoes and some sun golds. Oh, and super sweet 100 cherry tomato. So that's all that's in here. This is where I wanted my white currants to be. These are all volunteer, all of the ones that sprouted here. So they're doing great. I have more volunteer basil, volunteer milkweed. I've got the vincas, of course, and then I have my celery patch, though it does keep blooming and I don't know what to do about that. Can I still eat it after it blooms? Because this one has bloomed a couple times, but now it's not blooming and I just don't know what to do. It's supposed to be a perennial, so I'll see how it looks in the fall and winter, see if it survives some of the cold. For now, I'm just kind of watching it to see what happens. I've never attempted to grow celery before. This is my first time, so I'm just going with it and seeing what happens, really. And finally, I do have one more set of tomatoes over here. I've got husky red cherries and sun golds. For once, no yellow pear tomatoes in this bed, so that is a win. I do have some volunteer basil. I might just pull this up if I'm being honest, because it is quite annoying. So there's the basil here. I do have a volunteer cayenne pepper, which is doing really well. It was really late to sprout, so I think I just saw earlier today my first actual pepper. Oh yeah, there's a bee on it. So that's the first pepper that I've seen on the plant. Bees having a great time. And what this bed was actually intended for are these soybeans. So I have another round that's going. These are the leftover plants in the last round. There's a couple of beans still on there. And then I have new plants that I just planted that are sprouting. Still have a few leftover fennel. And there's another one that is sprouting too. So I'll plant a few more as my husband just took all the weeds out of here, and I'll be able to get a few more things going in this bed. Sweet potato is still doing really well, a little bit taken over by basil. There's basil here, basil back there, all different kinds of basil. And then of course my rosemary. My husband did cut it back a little bit. I'm kind of sad about it, but he cut it back just so that we had room to walk back here, because this has taken over the whole bed and I can't really grow anything else in here. And that leads us to the beans. This section, these have all pretty much died off. There are some green ones that are producing, but I have noticed that they have self-seeded. And so I've got new beans coming up. I was debating whether or not I should plant new beans. This is just one thing that could not survive off the neglect while I was in the hospital. So it is what it is. They do grow really well normally, but they need at least a little bit of care. And then we did harvest yesterday a bell pepper from this plant, which was great. That was a volunteer. I did not plant it there. There's just lots of random plants. There's a random watermelon plant here, which I don't expect to get a watermelon out of, but it's there. More milkweed, more basil, more milkweed, more peppers. And then this is the Thai soldier beans. They're doing a bit better than the Chinese noodle beans. The plants are still alive, but I don't see, I guess it's all seed now, but this is still pretty green. You gotta catch them really quickly. They go from ripe to overripe very, very fast. It's like a matter of a day or so. So yeah, I don't really see a lot of beans. There might be some up top that are perfect to harvest. I might just call it quits on the beans just because I don't have a ton of time left in the season, but I'm not seeing too much. Oh, here's one. So this is what they're supposed to look like. This is a perfect one right there. So I've got a few, not a lot. This bed had watermelons in it. Now it has basil and milkweed. Of course, that's kind of what took over with the neglect. My dragon tongue bush beans pretty much died out. I have left some in here as they seem to maybe be growing back, but in case they don't, I actually just planted the other day after some rain 4 rows of carrots, and if they start coming up and doing well, I'm just gonna harvest all of the beans. But I am giving the beans a chance to come back. I do see a couple trying to produce, so I will give them a chance before ripping them all up, but I would prefer to have the carrots in here. And I totally missed this, but this pepper bed is actually doing really well. The peppers love this new location. I do have this beautiful candy cane pepper producing. This one's starting to turn color. There were some aphids, or no, just some spots. Just some brown spots on the stem there. But I've got quite a few bell peppers on it. There's actually another one right there with great variation. There are volunteer peppers too. Again, I didn't plant this cayenne, but it's just growing anyway. So that's a thing that's happening. There is a volunteer Roma tomato right here. We have mostly chopped up the yellow pear, but that is a yellow pear. I have to rip that whole thing out. And I've got lots of shishitos. They are ready to harvest again. These I just bought at H-E-B, these plants, back in March or April. And I have never had better producing shishitos in my life. I have 6 plants in the front here. They were getting a little crowded out by this yellow pear tomato, which is why we mostly ripped it up, but they're doing a lot better now. There's a lot of new growth since, I think we had my dad rip it up, a month ago? So that is the new growth since. It looks really green, really lush, and of course, lots of shishitos to eat. I gotta plan something with them soon. And then I also have these banana peppers. They're doing great. Again, harvested a few of them the other day, but they are doing really well, much better than ones I've grown in different places in this garden in the past. So I think this is the sweet spot for growing peppers. Of course, it took 3 years to find out where I actually should be planting things in this garden, but it's all figured out now. Over here, the artichokes are done for the season. There's little ones starting to come back. Lemongrass has gone crazy. I've never had it grow this big before, but that is lemongrass, and we have harvested it a little bit this year. And in the back here, I do have my asparagus and strawberries. There's a lot of weeds in here, but because we had a little bit of a colder spell, there is a new asparagus stalk. So I will be looking out for more of those to harvest, just because you can get asparagus in the fall as well as the spring, and I would love to harvest them if I can as the weather starts to cool down, and just find ways to eat it, because I do only get a couple stalks at a time while it's warmer. So it is what it is, but I will find a way to use it, of course. So that is it for the September garden tour. It's looking a little raggedy out here. I appreciate that. And it is the end of summer, and I didn't have a lot of time out here, but for the plants that survived, they did really well, and they provided me with lots of produce. I got lots of herbs, and it was nice to be able to come out here and just harvest whenever. Unfortunately, a lot of tomatoes did get overripe and drop on the ground, so I'm expecting a lot of volunteer tomatoes next year. I'm just expecting it, and I will have to be merciless, which I've not been able to do in the past, and I'll just have to pull them all up. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but for now, I'm looking forward to a fall garden. I'm looking forward to being out here more and transitioning the garden out of summer, but I'm still gonna enjoy all these peppers until it freezes, of course, because I have a hard time letting go of them. But that's it for this video. If you liked it, make sure to give Nutmeg and I here a thumbs up down below and subscribe so you don't miss anything from us here on the channel. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll catch you in the next one.